It's a great honor to finally have a trade agreement hopefully being passed through Parliament again today. And this agreement is groundbreaking, with a first EU gender and trade chapter, a trade and sustainability chapter, the most ambitious TSD chapter negotiated so far by the EU, with ambitious and binding commitments on environmental and labor standards and references to the rights of indigenous peoples, and a commitment to consider the possibility of including the Paris Agreement on climate change as an essential element of the agreement in the form of a review. And in this agreement, we have special support for SMEs through a dedicated chapter for SMEs and a new stand-alone chapter on sustainable food systems. 95% of trade will be duty-free and 216 European geographical indications will be protected. With this agreement, we have shown that trade can indeed be responsible and fair. And we have been waiting for this modern and progressive agreement for a long time. In today's world, it is important that we collaborate with like-minded partners to facilitate the energy transition, to create more jobs, to protect human rights, and to ensure security. The amendment of the original agreement from 2002 was crucial to reflect the developments and modernization in our increasingly sustainable and digital economies, as well as our rules-based trading system, and given the geopolitical situation. Chile is a key partner for the EU in Latin America, and the EU is Chile's third largest trading partner and its foreign investor. And our bilateral trade encompasses many sectors, including but not limited to minerals such as copper and lithium, machinery and chemicals, and especially agricultural products. And the modernized agreement will allow the EU and Chile to strongly increase their bilateral political trade and investment cooperation, as it will create mutually beneficial new opportunities on both sides. The modernization is continuing to strengthen these important bilateral trade flows and provides improved market access for goods, services, investment and government procurement, amended investment protection, protection and enforcement of intellectual property rights, and the reduction of unessential non-tariff barriers. And the agreement keeps the right to maintain public services. From the beginning, there were multiple key priorities for me, which I'm happy to see covered. I said it before, for the first time in an EU agreement, is there a dedicated chapter on gender and trade, so that trade leads to gender equality and women's empowerment, and trade ultimately benefits all. And there are specific provisions and references on the rights of indigenous people. It is key that their rights are respected and upheld in such an important agreement. And the chapters on sustainable development and trade and gender establish and foster the approach towards a green and fair trade relationship. The specific chapter on trade and SMEs is important since they account for a large proportion of EU-Chile trade. So to assist them in taking full advantage of this agreement will be important. Of course, we must also recognize the role that Chile plays in our green and just transition. Chile has a leading role as a major supplier of critical raw materials, and a lot of these are supplied to the EU, especially when it comes to lithium and copper. And Chile has also huge potential when it comes to the creation of clean energy, such as green hydrogen, and the energy chapter plays into this. All the while, the agreement leaving sufficient policy space to Chile for local added value, and this has to be done in an environmentally and socially sustainable manner, while it should benefit local communities, including indigenous communities. All in all, I am happy that we have been able to reach such a good agreement with our like-minded partner. I look forward to a final conclusion very soon, and I also hope for a swift ratification procedure by Chile and at EU member state level. The Advanced Framework Agreement brings our relation in line with the most advanced standards and unlock untapped potentials. And it will modernize the existing association agreement, opening and improving new areas, including investment liberalization and investment protection provisions. Political and economic cooperation on the basis of old rules is not an option for the EU anymore, and I am proud that today we are hopefully agreeing with such a modern and progressive agreement. Lastly, I would like to commend the work of the Commission negotiators on the trade side, led by Paolo Garzotti, also for their engagement and transparent cooperation with the Parliament and me as rapporteur. And a special thanks to the Chile ambassador to the EU, Gloria Navarrete, and her embassy team for the wonderful cooperation. We show that trade can deliver for people. Let's go. Vamos. Thank you. Muchas gracias.
Σας ευχαριστώ. Τώρα εξ ονόματος της Επιτροπής.